focus, right? And so you need an operator to do that with a joystick and camera 1, camera 2. And the other thing they're going to do is they're going to take the different cameras. When the city manager speaks, when Lisa speaks, so they need to zoom in and they'll do all that. And then the other thing they're going to do is put graphics in. So pop your name up, put a date in, put a slide up, or add some graphical images to the what we're recording.
And if I read this correctly, when we have a PowerPoint presentation, the people that are actually going to see the video would actually see the actual presentation as opposed to just what's on the screen, right?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So in the past, that camera will zoom into the projector, and you get this, semi-dark and bright spots kind of image, right? So now it's a clean digital feed straight over to the switcher, and so it'll look, nice and sharp.
Okay.
Yep, that'll be a nice improvement.
The other thing, as far as what it's going to take to operate this equipment compared to what's in the room there right now, is this going to be easier to operate than what we currently have, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah, it'll definitely be easier. One, because it's contemporary equipment, and we're working with equipment that's, there's like 3 people who know how to use this stuff in Michigan, right? So from that aspect, it's going to be a lot easier. But it is a more traditional multimedia production facility, whereas this is more of what we have now is more like a exaggerated conference room setup, right? So this is real video production with cameras, switchers, graphics. So it'll be easy for someone new to come in to get an understanding of how it operates.
Okay. So would that lend itself to being able to train folks in City Hall to run it when we have meetings or presentations that take place during office hours, if you will, for City Hall, whereas in the past we've had to have, the mayor's had to come in and do some things.
Yeah. So I think that there's probably as many, buttons to push, but I think the difference is Steve, myself, and others, we're here at the ground floor, and we see this coming in, and we're going to get trained on it, and others can get trained on it, and we can build some real good documentation, technical documentation, as well as user guides for someone off the street can say, hey, how do I turn this on and run it? So we can build out documentation like that, okay? Because right now, as you know, we got a bunch of handwritten notes on
right.
So that'll all change. That'll get better.
So along the same lines there, would we, does it lend itself to actually doing maybe a video of the actual procedure so somebody could bring it up and just refresh their memories when they get assigned to go in there and do that, as opposed to just reading a step-by-step? I mean, I don't know if it would be a benefit or not, but you could do something like that maybe as well?
Well, video is time-consuming to do, right? And so I think myself and Steve and others who are working on this, in the line of work that we do, building documentation, for you to read, whether it's online or on paper or whatever, is going to be a lot easier.
Okay.
What we can do, though, is where there's an app where you're using a computer interface and you want to record the movements of your mouse, and this is go here, go here, go here. We can probably build some stuff out like that, but for the most part, it'll be documentation.
Okay, good enough. Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate
sure.
it, Rich.
Good questions.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
Have you ever seen anything that was something of the nature of a Zoom meeting? The mic is activated by somebody speaking, the camera goes to that mic and captures that person talking. Are you familiar with anything that might, programming that might end up existing like that?
That stuff exists. Proposal-wise, we're not doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine that it's not nearly as artistic and probably a little bit more clumsy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we could have planning, we could have all of our commissions could end up being readily available on videos rather than having to just read some kind of sketchy minutes from a meeting. So I don't know if there's anything that could end up being coordinated with whatever the system that we are going to have but something that, so you could play both sides of that fence then.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's part of the technology that we have, that it's where video follows audio, where audio right now, the camera cuts to the mic, right? Part of the problem is, how many mics do we have in here? We got a lot of mics.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what the mayor says is going to be picked up on your mic, and what you say is going to be, and it also depends on how loud we are, right? So that's not going to work in this room, right? In a more controlled setting like a TV studio, it works really good. In a Zoom setting where people are in geographically different information,
Right.
Different locations, works great. Not in this setting.
Yeah, I just think that it's unfortunate that we don't have a better ability to have people in the community being able to see what's taking place in their name when they're in a commission meeting in this room. So,
well, I think then to that point, we can, as we talk about documentation, this is a pretty simple system to work, right? So I don't want to dummy it down too much, but it's really camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, right? Zoom, tilt, pan, make sure all the presets are set in there. We can make it really easy so that you could have somebody come in, and let's say the board commission wants to record their meeting. Maybe the board commission, it's their responsibility to say, you want it recorded, find your person for that room, right? And maybe that's how that works, and we'll make sure we provide documentation, and we can certainly provide training as well. But we can definitely make it really easy for someone to walk in there, start using it.
I'd really like to see that, something of that nature, where there's a better reflection of what it actually happened rather than just sketchy minutes. So, thank you.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely, we'll think about that, yep.
Councilmember Kurtzwell, go ahead.
Thank you, Rich, for all the time that you're putting in on this. It's very appreciated. My question relates to, again, to Zoom. And there is some discussion that the Open Meetings Act may begin to provide some remote appearances by people, particularly those with disabilities, that may not be able to make it to a meeting. And so they would be permitted to, let's say a council member was in a serious accident and for whatever reason, transportation purposes, can't make the meeting, but is still able to participate or whatever. So there is some talk that individuals who are elected may have an opportunity at some point to appear remotely under very limited circumstances. Would this system allow that? I mean, would we be able to watch that person up here? How would that work?
Yeah, as we went through our scope and our equipment investigation, that wasn't part of the scope. So the answer to that is, I don't know. So I need to do some research on that.
Well, I don't have the authority to ask you, so.
Authority to ask what, if we want to add that to the scope?
Yeah, so I'd like to address that to the city manager, is that, and I don't know if the city attorney saw that also, that coming out, that they may start permitting under very, very limited circumstances. So if that's going to be the case, then why not prepare for it now and at least have the technology in place now, rather than going back to the drawing board a year from now? It's just food for thought, but I'll let the city manager decide whether or not that's something worth pursuing.
Well, and I think we can pursue that at a later date. I think it was important, to bring these items here so we can begin to move forward. We're working with this particular contractor, and we've been in contact with them, like I said, over a year, as well as with other suppliers. So we want to get this taken care of for these upgrades that are definitely necessary, and then we can start looking at some of the other items, because it took a long time to get to this particular point. I would hate to delay this particular process on something that may occur within the future that we don't necessarily have all the details. I mean, there's a couple things we're working out with the supplier regarding the contract, some minor items also that'll we hope to get worked out pretty quickly, but we want to move this along.
No, and I don't want to hold anything up, but, it's your call, so I'm fine with that. Okay, thank you.
Well, the good thing about the vendor that we're working with is he understands this world. He works with municipalities all the time. And so I'll be surprised if he isn't already aware of things that are coming down the road and looking for technology that can accommodate that. That being said, I'll contact him this week and say, hey, this is what we're thinking, right? And who knows, maybe this current technology has that capability. I know it has the ability to pull in Skype calls. So that's a possibility. But I agree with you. It's like,
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilmember Hanson?
My question was in regards to storage. I was reading through the proposal, and I guess, is the main storage space for the video the 4 terabyte SanDisk system that was listed in the invoice, or?
Yes. And of course, you can add as much to that as you want. And frankly, over the years, you're going to add another 4 and another 10, another 20 terabytes.
So is the plan kind of from a retention standpoint to tape the meetings, then upload to YouTube or to a different hard drive to store for retention, or?
It's more of a city question for the city. These like him and others they'll record this and we'll make that content. We'll give you that file. Where you take that file, you let us know, and then we can help facilitate that. But yeah, I would think we're going to, you guys are going to have a library of archived meetings for years.
And just from a standpoint of 4 terabytes, about how many minutes of HD footage does that amount to?
It depends on the quality that you record at. Let me get back to you on that. Yeah. I don't know, probably 100.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ballparking here.
I'm so used to digital standard def editing and whatnot, and that was gigabytes, not terabytes, so I wasn't sure how much.
Well, you're still working, when we're talking about the video that we're recording here, we're still in the gigabyte space, right? For example, when he records tonight, he's going to end up with probably 3 or 4 gigs on the SD card. Mm-hmm. And so when we record this system here, we're probably looking at about under 10 gig per meeting. So, a lot.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Hey, sure. No problem.
Councilmember Dill, did you have anything?
Yeah, just really quickly, what was the timeline on this? Maybe I missed it, on when the system will be available?
I don't think we can get that information until they get the signatures.
Okay.
And then they get into the ordering and then the installation queue. And I was actually talking with someone earlier tonight about that, and I was going to contact our resource over there, Jason, and find out what the latest queue is. My guesstimate is once they get something signed, say, great, we're probably looking at ordering time, order and shipment time, a couple of weeks, installation queue probably 4 to 6 weeks, so we're looking at least a couple of months.
Okay. And when this says that it'll be instantly available, the meetings won't be live, right?
If you want them live, they can be live,
Could be
but
live?
as soon as the meeting is over, we're going to have a file that says you guys can put it on Facebook, YouTube, whatever.
But it could be live.
It could be.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much for all your work on
Oh,
it.
sure.
I just have a couple of comments really quick. I want to thank Rich and Steve and Amber and the whole Cable Commission. He's not lying to you when we're talking about people are no longer here at both the school district and the city that were initially in these first meetings. So I believe one of the comments I came to City Hall and made at a meeting that I was standing where Rich is, asking if anyone's still driving their car from 1998, because that's about the ballpark on some of the technology that it is that we're operating on. And so I'm just very thankful that we're finally at this point, and I'm very much looking forward to hopefully getting this installed and moving into the next generation of filming the meetings here.
Yeah, and once you get it in here, you're going to be set for quite a while.
Yeah. Great. Did anyone, Councilmember Kennedy, go ahead.
I'd like to just go ahead and approve the installation of the video system upgrade and paying 50% of the cost of the improvements that amounts to $16,164.30 to Telesystems account. And what was the revised account number, Paul?
101-200-969-300.
Okay, to account number 101-200-969-300.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Too, though, yes.
I'm sorry, Councilmember.
I just wanted to find out one thing. Will the archive stuff be able to be put in like a zip form or something where you could consolidate things down to where they're just kept as smaller raw? They might not be the same fidelity, but where you could still store an awful lot more.
I don't think you can do that with a file size like this, but really storage is not going to be, if that's your concern, storage, like,
Primarily,
you know, like,
just
hey, we got all these
keep things
10,
forever.
20 terabyte things lying around. I don't think that's going to be really an issue, and I don't think that's an issue.
Okay.
And when you take a 10 gig file, and compress it down, it's really not worth your time, honestly.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else have anything to add? Okay, we have a motion and a second. City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Kennedy?
Yes.
Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Older?
Yes.
Henson?
Yes.
Gill?
Yes.
Kibble?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, motion passes.
Hooray.
New business number 2 this evening, City Broadcast Audio Visual Playback System.
Cable Commission Part 2. This has gone out for bid to upgrade the playback system for the local government access channel for broadcasting our city council and other cable-related programming. Rich Perry and Steve Kalkinen of the Cable Commission are recommending the purchase of the equipment outlined in the quote, and they are here to discuss this information. The bid information and online equipment from the Cable Commission recommending the purchase is attached. The recommended action is approve or not approve the bid from Telesystems in the amount of $10,303 for the playback systems, and that is out of account 101-800-977.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, Council. Steve Kaukinen, representing the Cable Commission here this evening. Again, in the information package you have are kind of the layout and the pricing for the playback system. And we were here probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and not as old a technology that we have up here, but most certainly a playback system we have now in the room. Definitely was an upgrade from the DVD player we had from a number of years ago, but now we're really ready to take the step up to the next mid-level technology that exists out there. And one thing I want to call out tonight is this is going to be kind of a two-tier, two-step approach. So what we have in front of you from a proposal perspective is for kind of replacing the baseline system that will also give us some key features that we don't have today. One of those key things is, well, one besides the system is probably crashing every 2 or 3 weeks, and Rich and I come in here, we reboot the system, get things back up. We're also starting to run into some hardware storage issues on the current CPU that's in the media room right now. But we're also looking to be able to do these updates remotely. So right now, if it's on the weekend, we only have, Rich is the only one who has access to the city hall at that point in time, or we have to come in here during office hours to try to update the playlist or whatever it might be. So one thing that the new system will allow us to be able to do is do those updates remotely, which is terrific. Now, some of the stuff that we're looking to do in 2023 is also start to do some stuff that I think is a lot more exciting. For instance, live streaming. We'd be able to live stream city council meetings. We get a little bit more advanced. We're also looking perhaps someday be able to live stream parades. So be out there in the parade, live stream. Now, it takes a little bit more connectivity other than just the setup that we're proposing here. That would be cameras and other things that have to be connected and so forth. But most certainly a really cool thing that we'd be able to do. Also being able to do more on demand. People today, they go out to Hulu, they go out to Netflix, they want stuff on demand. We do have limited capacity right now on YouTube, but this next level and what we'd be proposing in 2023, just to let you know that we're thinking longer term here as well, is also provide some of the on-demand capabilities through like a dedicated website, web streaming feature that the technology would allow us to be able to do. Again, not what we're going to get right away in 2022. Right now we're only proposing the $10,303 to really kind of upgrade the current system, to really become much more stable, really kind of advance our technology a little bit further as well, and position us well for 2023 to do some of the more additional functionality that we're looking to have in place. Again, we looked at Cablecast, we looked at Electronics, we looked at Teleview. Right at this point in time, we are recommending Cablecast. And again, we have gotten a quote from the vendor that would kind of tie in with the overall quote that would also go with or going at the same time or similar time to what we want to do from a time perspective for the camera upgrades here in the chambers. Other than that, again, really looking forward to, again, continuing us on the journey to make our cable capabilities more in line with what you see out there, and also being able to allow us to be able to do some really cool things here, starting in 2023 as well. Any questions?
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a reflection of the ability to contact WOW and have this go directly to them as well? Or was that in another, like in the last set of information? No?
To go to them, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
Well,
Sorry.
you know what, I didn't highlight or anything. I thought I had seen something where we could end up.
That's on page 54, I believe, or 55 of the packet. Show schedule, web guide allows for user to see what. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So basically, it's like being able to allow people to know what's coming on, coming up in the upcoming hours. Again, I believe that's in the first release as well, to be able to have that ability to both visually on the screen show what's coming up, really at the top of the hour, bottom of the hour, as well as what we're looking to be able to do is like on WOW or on Xfinity, be able to, you go to the channel guide and be able to see what's coming up. Right now, it just says like government programming or something like that, but really being able to allow us to be able to do some type of more informative to say, well, it's going to be the city council meeting, or it's going to be the Spotlight on South Lyon series or whatnot. So again, that's something we're looking to be able to do kind of in that first release.
Yeah, well, I think that's valuable because seeing government information is not something.
It's not very informative.
Glom onto, so, yeah, okay, thank you.
Councilmember Kurtzwell, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about on-demand, because I don't think I quite understand it real well. And let me just sort of ask a question. Let's say, for whatever reason, YouTube said we're not going to air that city council meeting. Is there a way to get that video of what went on at that meeting out there?
Yeah, I mean, you have other platforms, or most certainly you could also, get it up on your own website with some other hosting capabilities, I would say. So, yeah, you could. So again, if YouTube came out and said no more, government city council meetings are allowed on our platform, you could look at other platforms to be able to host that and be able to stream it on others. Now, again, this would be getting us off. I mean, we still could post to YouTube here, but again, the idea here in 2023 would to have a dedicated website for the channel to be able to allow people to go out and say, hey, I don't want to wait until 7 o'clock on Tuesday night to watch the city council meeting. I want to watch it now. Can click on it and be able to see it right away.
Okay.
Again, it's similar to Netflix. You open up Netflix, you scroll through the thousands of options that you have. Again, we won't have thousands of options, but hundreds of options, and you'd be able to just pull it up on your TV and start watching it right away.
Because there is some chatter out there. It's chatter. So I think you have to put it in perspective.
Sure.
But it's chatter.
Yep.
That city council meetings, governmental meetings, are now being observed for content that is in violation of whatever that platform's guidelines are. So if you have somebody that comes in and speaks at the public comment section about something that YouTube doesn't want you talking about, they are thinking about closing out that section. So,
yeah, again, this would allow us to have a dedicated site for the channel to be able to stream the content, which we still want to find appropriate. We don't want to put anything objectionable out there on the channel, but most certainly city council meetings, the type of content we record, most certainly we would have a lot more control over, and again, being dependent on a third party to allow that.
and that's what I'm interested in, is the ability of somebody like YouTube or whatever.
Right. And this on-demand system offered through the vendor, through Cablecast, is something between you and Cablecast. It's not something that's being monitored or being managed by YouTube.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
I'd like to make the motion that we support or approve the bid for telesystems in the amount of $10,303 for a playback system from account number 101-800-977.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we know for sure that that's the correct account number?
Yes, it is,
Okay, thank you.
977.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Okay. City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Kimball?
Yes.
Dill?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Moser?
Yes.
Kurzweil?
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes.
Elster?
Yes. Thank you both very much.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
New business number 3 this evening, purchase of easement machine for DPW.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. The Department of Public Works has requested an easement machine to increase accessibility for sections of the sewer that we are not able to reach with our current Vector truck. This piece of equipment is designed to attach to the sewer truck to increase the areas that we are not equipped to maintain. This budget item can be purchased with the equipment placement account as presented in this year's budget using account number 641-959-700. I have attached 3 quotes on the bid sheet for your review. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Councilmember Kurzweil, go ahead.
I'd like to move to approve the purchase of a trail-based easement machine for the Department of Public Works for the amount of $45,000 under line item 641-959-700.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kurzweil, supported by Councilmember Kennedy. Do we have any further discussion?
I do.
Councilmember Kurzweil, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions on this particular piece of equipment. How far does that coil extend? Are we talking about a 300, 500 reach?
I believe it's 500. Yeah, it's 600-foot reel capacity, 500-foot hose.
The hose is about
Correct.
500?
Yep.
Okay.
On top of what the machine already does, the Vector. So the Vector can then extend another 300 feet. So actually, you can go 800 feet. 300 feet to the machine, another 500 feet out.
Okay, got it.
So everywhere we need to reach, definitely we'll be able to reach.
That was going to, I just want to make sure it's going to, and I assume that that's an automatic wind on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It runs by the pneumatic, same as the equipment that's on the truck, yes.
Okay, super. And then the other thing I wanted to know, I assume that when the feed goes into the sewer, it has a cut on it, a saw? Is that hydraulic or?
Only if you need to. Technically, it would just have a cleaner, a router on the end that actually cleans the sewers.
Okay.
So yeah, you wouldn't necessarily put a bit on there that would do any cutting unless we needed to, but no, it would just be for cleaning. The same thing that we're doing with pipe tech, only we can reach farther. It's the same thing we do with our sewer truck now. We would only put a bit on if we needed to cut something.
Okay, but this would have a bit.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it does have a bit, if a hydraulic saw to put on it if you had to dig through and cut roots or something?
Kind of works like that, yeah. It's a router, but it's cleaner. It uses super high pressure water to pull everything out of the sewer system, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilmember Kivel, go ahead.
This is pretty friendly with the environment that it's going to be tracking over.
Yes, actually, it has kind of like tank treads on it, and we demoed quite a few different units within the department, and the guys were very happy with it.
Well, good. I was just concerned when you do directionally, change direction, those have a tendency to scuff up, lawns and things
Certain
like that.
conditions we won't use it in. Like if we see we're going to do any type of lawn damage, we just won't use it.
Okay.
The drier the ground, the better, obviously, so.
I can, when you look at the brand-new place that's going up at 11 Mile there, where you have 6 feet between houses there, it's going to be something like this that you'll need to be able to get back there to take care of some of those sewers. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kurtzwell, supported by Councilmember Kennedy. City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in a roll call vote?
Moser,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Dill,
Yes.
Kibble,
Yes.
Felker.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. New business number 4 this evening, sanitary sewer evaluation study phase 4, quadrant section 29-3, to include repairs to phase 1 and phase 2.
All things sewer tonight, huh? So this is obviously, as you guys are